Well, Joe, in this episode, I'd like to focus on production systems. For our audience, how would you describe a production system? What is a production system? What are the benefits of having one? And is any company enabled to create theirs?
First of all, well, if I describe in a very, very simple way, production system to me is common principles and tools in order to reach at least how we see the world-class performance. So in order to improve your performance to reach what we call world-class performance, you need to develop a common way of working. Always focus on improving your process, but through your people. So in order to align, especially in a big organization, I think that's important that you create a production system to align those principles, those way of working. And we use at Volvo, we used to say that VPS, our Volvo production system, is just our way of working. We do things through VPS. It's not something in parallel that you do in our day-to-day job. It's how we do things.
How we work.
It's basically how we work in order to improve our performance by improving our process, by improving our people. That's a little bit how I see production system. And then when it comes to your question, is any company enabled to do that? I think so. It doesn't matter if you're a really small company. That's when I teach. Also, I have a lot of students that they are coming from small companies and so on, or even they have their own small companies. Of course, then you need to adapt to your reality. You don't just copy and paste. And I think that's an important learning. That of course most of the production systems they came from Toyota production. We need to be, but at the same time, it's really important that you try to adapt to your reality, and most important to your culture. You cannot imagine that you go to Toyota and you just go there and copy, and whatever they have there, you just copy and paste and it will work in your company. That I don't believe. On copy and paste, I don't believe. I think that's important that every company needs to understand where they are in this journey, and then adapt to their reality and adapt to their culture.
And I guess this is more suitable to the bigger companies. Even though like a small company can create its own production system, big companies, they create it because they need to ensure standardization throughout their sites, throughout their plants, their offices, right? And how do they do that? Like, do they look for best practices around their whole operation? And they're okay, this is good, and they come up with they put this together and say this is our way of working, or everybody or every plant, every site should work like this. How is this created? First moment.
Yeah, I think that you have to be careful. Yes and no. When you create a production system, in our case, Volvo production system, it's based on our way of work in terms of and principles and process, but you cannot imagine that in my case, I'm really focused on distribution center, that all the distribution center will work exactly the same way. And we need as well to give the flexibility for the continuous improvement, especially involving people from the floor. So if we just put everybody in the same box and say, you just work like that, then I think that we might take the risk to lose something that is really important in this journey, that is this continuous improvement, and based on the people that are really close to the process. So we need to give them as well that flexibility to improve, to innovate, but then making the link that whenever we find a better way of working, then through the best practice sharing, then you improve your process and you share through your network a new way of working. So yes, it's a common way, but not on specific details. It's more on principles and process, but on a certain level. You cannot go in really detail level. It depends on which company you are. There is some type of company that you need to go deeper on detail and secure that everybody follows exactly the same way. But in our case, we follow in a certain level. They should look more or less the same. But if you go deep one level down or two level down, then you need to have some flexibility to keep improving and challenge the process. Because I used to say that I never met any process or anyone that cannot be improved. So we always, it doesn't matter what level you are, you can always improve, and that you have to be careful, because if you just once everybody looks exactly the same to different operations, then someone who is on a more mature level then might lose time in this journey because they're waiting the others to reach their level. So I think that we need to be flexible and have a common way more as a target image.
Or like guidelines.
Guidelines and so on, but you cannot be in a closed box, at least in my way of seeing that journey.